On a muggy Monday in Frisco, as Brian Schottenheimer shuffled into the media room with a throat lozenge tucked into his cheek and the weight of a disjointed defense pressing on his shoulders, the scene felt eerily symbolic of where the Dallas Cowboys stand: sick, sputtering, and sinking. He tried to mask the fatigue with humor, but no amount of menthol could soothe the raw truth. This team's pass defense isn't just bad, it's regressing, unraveling week by week into something far uglier than anyone in Cowboys Nation anticipated. And the timing couldn't be worse. CeeDee Lamb and Tyler Booker, two offensive cornerstones, are out with high ankle sprains, the kind of injuries that sideline stars and sap momentum. The loss to Chicago wasn't just a defeat, it was a disaster, a 31-4 implosion that exposed this defense for what it truly is: confused, communication-starved, and catastrophically porous. 6 bombs allowed since week 1, coverage busts that would make a high school coordinator cringe, and a secondary that has seemingly forgotten the fundamentals of zone coverage. And yet Schottenheimer, lozenges and all, insists the scheme is fine, that the players have bought in, that execution, not design, is the problem. But how many times can you blame execution before you admit the blueprint itself is flawed? The numbers scream regression. Russell Wilson, benched elsewhere, looked reborn against Dallas, torching them for 450 yards sandwiched between two otherwise forgettable performances. Rookie Caleb Williams, whose previous career best day was pedestrian by NFL standards, doubled his averages and carved up Dallas with 298 yards and 4 touchdowns, all without a single sack. That isn't execution, that's systemic failure. The zone scheme, Matt Eberflus's calling card, is either too complex for the personnel or too mismatched to their skill sets. It's one thing to miss assignments against Patrick Mahomes. It's another to allow rookie quarterbacks and washed veterans to post career days against you. Even Schottenheimer concedes there's doubt in the locker room, that confidence is shaken, that players are quietly questioning whether the plan they're being asked to execute is worth believing in. And why wouldn't they? When veteran corners and safeties, players who should know better, are blowing coverages and letting receivers run free. When communication breakdowns have become so commonplace that they're no longer even surprising, something far deeper is broken. Meanwhile, the ripple effects of those defensive failings are spreading like a virus through the rest of the roster. Without Lamb, the offense is forced to rely on Dak Prescott to generate miracles with limited weaponry. Without Booker, the offensive line's cohesion is compromised. Without pressure from the defensive line, a unit that's underperformed catastrophically since Micah Parsons' trade, opposing quarterbacks have all day to dissect a secondary that looks allergic to tight coverage. The Cowboys don't blitz, the defensive ends blow assignments, and the once vaunted pass rush has gone silent. This isn't a single-point failure, it's a structural collapse. And fans, understandably, are furious. They want changes, no firings, signings, trades. They want Gardner Johnson, the fiery free agent safety every fan blog insists could fix everything overnight. They want Odell Beckham Jr. to inject life into a stagnant offense. They want scapegoats and saviors. But Schottenheimer and the Cowboys brass insist none of that is happening. Not yet, anyway. There's no defensive coordinator firing on the horizon, no mass roster purge, no big splash signing guaranteed. Instead, the message is patience, simplification, and better execution. It's a hard sell when the evidence suggests deeper rot. Will McClay's recent draft record is under the microscope, with defensive selections failing to blossom into difference-makers. Maisie Smith, once heralded as a cornerstone, has been more liability than asset. Even once promising pieces like Dorrance Armstrong have plateaued. The result? A defense that's younger, cheaper, but not better, and one that seems fundamentally misaligned with the scheme it's tasked to execute. Schottenheimer hints at changes. "We will make some changes," he says. But what does that mean? More meetings, fewer play calls, simplified language? He mentions gathering the entire defense in the same room more often, as if proximity might somehow breed understanding. But that's not evolution. That's rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic while the ship lists deeper into icy waters. This isn't about chemistry. That overused buzzword Brian Schottenheimer clings to in press conferences like a lifeline, tossing it out as if repeating it enough times will suddenly make it real. Chemistry is a convenient shield, a soft, abstract explanation for hard concrete failures. But what's happening in Dallas has nothing to do with chemistry. It's about competence, or rather, the glaring lack of it. And right now, competence is as scarce in this locker room as takeaways in the secondary. The breakdowns are systemic, not accidental, and they start from the ground up. Communication errors at the back end, the kind that should have been cleaned up by week 2, are not only persisting but multiplying. Missed assignments and busted coverages have become weekly rituals like clockwork. The front seven isn't doing its part either. The pass rush, once the crown jewel of this defense, has lost its bite beyond Micah Parsons. Quarterbacks are too comfortable, too clean, too unbothered, and they're carving Dallas up because of it. Linebackers, caught in no man's land, are routinely a step slow, overcommitting to play fakes or drifting out of their gaps. Safeties are showing up late to their landmarks, reacting instead of anticipating. And the corners, once billed as a deep, versatile group, are being roasted over the top, time and again, as if the film from previous weeks doesn't exist. It's a pattern so predictable, it's almost theatrical. Every Sunday, the same script plays out like a rerun on an endless loop. An opposing quarterback strolls into AT&T Stadium, sets up shop, and walks out with a career highlight reel. Backup quarterbacks look like Pro Bowlers. Journeymen become headline makers. Elite passers feast like it's Thanksgiving. And the most damning part? Opponents have stopped even pretending they need to run the football. Why bother challenging a front that's finally respectable against the run when you can torch a secondary that's softer than wet tissue paper? Even Schottenheimer himself has admitted he wouldn't waste time running against Dallas. And he's right. Why crash into a brick wall when you can cruise through open air? Until that calculus changes, until this defense gives opponents a reason to fear something beyond number 11 flying off the edge, the same humiliating story will keep being written, week after week. And yet, buried deep beneath the mounting frustration, there are faint, flickering signs of life. Special teams, under the steady hands of Brandon Aubrey and Cavante Turpin, remains a legitimate bright spot. Disciplined, dynamic, and consistently giving Dallas favorable field position. The run defense, once the Achilles heel of this franchise, has quietly turned into a strength, plugging lanes and holding opponents in check on the ground. And Dak Prescott, still standing tall despite losing his top weapon and enduring a carousel of offensive inconsistency, has proven he's capable of engineering enough offense to keep Dallas competitive if the defense can hold up its end of the bargain. But that if looms larger with each passing week, because time is no longer a luxury this team possesses. The schedule isn't softening, it's sharpening its teeth. Green Bay is up next on Sunday night, a team that smells blood in the water, and the odds makers have made it clear they don't trust Dallas to contain Jordan Love, not in this current state. Meanwhile, the fan base, 76,000 strong and swelling with decades